Hello everybody, my name is V, and today I'm going to be showing you if that game in your collection is authentic or just a cheap reproduction. First off, we have the NES games right here, and the first thing you want to look at is how the label is. So, does it have a sheen to it? Yes, it does. If it does not, and it's more of a matte finish, or it's not as glossy, it could be a reproduction label. So as you can see here on Metroid, it's also got that sheen to it. Notice how there's no peeling really around the edges. Everything is nice and uniformly in there, as well as Contra here. Now granted, they might have more gunk on them, some blemishes, than normal games, but still, that's the first thing you want to look at. Second thing to look at is the Nintendo seal itself, right down here on the bottom of every cartridge. They might have different varieties. As you can see here, you got the gold and black, while this one is just white and gold. But these should be very visible to see. No pixelation, should be nice and crisp edges. And yeah, so that's what you should be looking at on the label itself on the front of all these cartridges. Now for the back of the cartridge, there's three things you can look at. First thing being, is there a secret number or letter somewhere on the back of the cartridge? Here we can see what looks like an L and an A on The Legend of Zelda. Over here we see 1-1 over on Metroid. And then finally over here, you can faintly see it right there, but it looks like we have either a 1 or a 9 over here on Contra. So at least the backs of all these games are legitimate. But the next thing you can look at is Nintendo down here, if I can get it to focus. There we go. On the top of the eye, it should be a square dot. If it is circle, it is a fake. In every game here, see the square? See the square? We know it's real. Other than that, what you want to be looking at are the screws themselves. Most reproduction games will not use the standard game screw that Nintendo uses. They'll use either a Phillips head, or it might even just be a push together sort of game cartridge. No screws are even used, it's just a fake head on the top there. So those are also things that you want to look out for. Now, just because the outside of the game is real, doesn't mean the motherboard inside is. Especially on the more rare games, it is always a good idea to check the board itself to make sure no tomfoolery is going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my screwdriver, take these game screws out, and then we're going to take a look at the inside and see what the board looks like. Now, if you want to remove the screws on your own cartridges, you're going to need a bit that can do it. Personally, I use the G3.8 bit right here from iFixit. They have kits on their website, as well as you can go to your local hardware store and find them. This is not sponsored, but I do love their equipment. It is very nice to use and very user-friendly as well, with magnetic tips that attract the screws themselves, so that way they're not going to be lost anywhere. So now that we have the back off, as you can see, we got the motherboard right here. It actually looks very, very clean, if I do say so myself. But honestly, we can't see anything identifiable on this side, so we're gonna have to pick it up and turn it over. And there, as you can see, in the top left there, it says Nintendo. That's really all you need to see. Many reproduction boards do not take the time to do that because they don't think people are going to be opening them up. Also, just look, you have actual chips on this board. There's not just a bunch of black gunk on there. And the board's actually the correct size as well. Normally reproductions use a lot smaller chips because nowadays they're able to fit that much on there. So now that we know this is a legitimate copy, I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and we'll move on to the next one. So those are the key things to look for at an NES game. Next up, let's move on to SNES, where as you can see, I have a copy of EarthBound right here that we're going to be looking at and seeing if it is real. So personally, I only buy my rare games from people that I trust. There's a few game stores around my area, one of which is ran by a guy that only does authentic games. He does not believe in reproductions, so I always trust what he has, and he will always let me open up a game and check it to see if it is authentic or not, just in case he missed something. But starting out, as you can see here, we have two different versions of the game itself. One is sort of a slope into it, while the other one is a flat surface with just a groove. Now, both of these are authentic looks. It's just how they interact with the SNES itself. So back in the day when you would hit the eject button, you'd be able to pull these both out, but there were times where people wouldn't hit the eject and they try to force it out. And if you had a game cartridge like this, it would most likely break your eject button or the mechanism that's keeping it in place. So they eventually switched to this kind where you can force it out if you need to, and it's better health for your console, basically. But let's take a deeper dive into these and see what to look for. So, just like the NES games, you want to be checking that label, making sure it's glossy and smooth. If it has that matte finish, most likely a reproduction label, as well as the Nintendo seal of authenticity and quality. You know it's real. The fake ones will be a little bit more orange and not have that shine to it. Now again, these games don't always have ESRB rating on it, so you really can't look at those for everything. Fortunately, EarthBound does have K through A on it, so it is a little bit easier to spot, because these, they get wrong a lot on reproductions. Either the lettering will be black, it'll be the wrong font, so it's kind of easy to look at that stuff. But next up, as you can see here, the screws are now on the front, they are not on the back. A lot of times, again, wrong screws. It might just be a little sort of like pivot hole that just squeezes together to keep the entire cartridge together. So again, a lot of these games you gotta open up to see what they look like. But before we open them up, let's look at the back here. As you can see, hidden number / letters on both these games right there, as well as the I dot in Nintendo is square, not round. Very important to look at, because that's one of the most giveaways that I have ever seen on these cartridges. So I have gone and opened up both of the cartridges right here. Again, it is the same screw bit as the NES games, and already we can tell that the boards look very similar, which is a good sign. So let's go over here to the Legend of Zelda here, turn it over. It's got a battery, which this game needs to save, and it's got the Nintendo seal right over there on the right, and everything looks good that I can see. Again, it looks like an authentic board. There's not a bunch of black goop everywhere. Let's go ahead, put that one back down here. Be very gentle with it. And now for the big hitter. Is my EarthBound real or not? Gonna pick it up, turn it over. We got a battery, we got Nintendo, and if I cross-reference this image to authentic board, it is an actual copy of EarthBound, which is very, very nice for me in my collection. So let's carefully go ahead, put that one back down. And now I'm going to close them back up. So it's a relief knowing my copy of EarthBound is real. It is a very expensive game, as you can see here. And it's a game I've always wanted in my collection, so I'm happy to know that it is an authentic copy. But next up, let's move to our N64 cartridges, shall we? So N64 cartridges start to get a little bit easier to tell if they're fake or not. Again, the label's going to have that sheen to it, nice and glossy, but they also are going to start having the ESRB ratings on every cartridge. Now, as you can see, this one over here is a white E versus a black M over here, and that can just vary from game to game, but it's not going to vary from, say, one Conker's Bad Fur Day to another Conker's Bad Fur Day. So they're very easy to see whenever they are switched out for something else. So for example, over here on the Legend of Zelda, on a fake cartridge, it may have a black E on it, or it might be an E that's in the wrong font. You'll see it all the time. Again, we have the Nintendo seal of quality that's going to be on every licensed Nintendo game. It's going to be the same color as the Zelda background here, as well as being sharp picture, no pixelation on either of these games. And as well, we're going to check out the back and see if we can find those numbers back there. So now onto the back of the game. As we can see here, we have a letter and a number there, and a number right there that you can faintly see. Again, they might use different screws, Phillips, flathead, tri-wing, or just the pegs that you push together, as well as the I in Nintendo is square on both these copies and not a circle. So when you take off the back of the N64 game, you'll notice that there's another layer of protection here that's held on by these Phillip head screws, just one on each corner down here, just two of them in total. So let's go ahead, take those off, and see what the board looks like. Now that we have the heat shield off, you can see we got two different boards here, but they're both authentic because they have the Nintendo mark here and here, and there's no weird block goo anywhere. So these are both legitimate copies of N64 games. So I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in and get it all closed up. And that is how you tell if N64 games are reproductions. Now, that's not the only thing on cartridge games that can be faked, of course. So as you can see here, I have miniature box arts for my N64 games. Now, I personally made these for my collection at the time because I liked seeing the box art, what was on the back of them, and I just learned how to put these together with a simple printer and lamination machine. Now, there are companies that make these boxes, really good looking ones, that are all reproductions, have the inserts, the manuals, everything. So the best thing to do with those is if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Also, if someone's charging you like 10 bucks for the box, it's probably fake. A lot of the box art goes for a lot more than that. And yes, I know it's just some paper, but for a collector, they want the original. So why am I showing you how to spot fake games? Well, I see it all the time on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. People are selling reproduction games at authentic game prices. And either they don't know any better or they're trying to scam you. So as a collector who likes all original hardware, everything to be legitimate, if I'm paying $200, $300 for a game, I want to be getting the actual game itself, not a $5 ripoff. So really, if you play reproduction games, that is fine, you do you, but if I want to collect the real ones, I'm going to collect the real ones. If you have found today's video helpful, go ahead, hit that like button, leave me a comment if you've ever been fooled by a fake game, and of course if you want to see more videos like this, or see my journey where I'm building a game room from absolutely nothing, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and join me for my journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.